ever find out I was a bride?
Farmer's market.
Get it up on Sunset somewhere.
Really?
And we don't get a dime.
See, they're starting already. Father Knows Best remains the classic television comedy. Dad has spoken about raising children, about parents raising children. The show stopped production 24 years ago. But reruns and, of course, so many fond memories have kept these characters alive in the hearts of millions of people. The Father Knows Best cast reunited for a television movie in 1977, and the Anderson family, if you will, is back together with us again. Robert Young, of course, played Jim Anderson, the father, who occasionally knew best. Jane Wyatt played his wife Margaret. Eleanor Donahue was the oldest daughter Betty. Billy Gray played Bud. Lauren Chapin played the youngest, Kathy, or Kitten, as they call her. This is a pleasure.
For all of us.
Now, that just when Bob just went, ha, just that sound alone. What is it like for all of you to sit? You don't, I would assume, see each other very often, do you, as a group? Bob?
Not all five of us haven't been together since, I don't think since we did.
But when we did the reunion, David, it was the strangest thing for all. We all said the same thing. We first greeted each other almost as strangers, you know. Said, wow, how you grown? You know, you've changed. Well, anyway, things are different. And they said, yes, you get a little pot belly. But Jane looks exactly the same. Jane hasn't changed at all, really, in all the years. At any rate, after that strangeness, unfamiliarity wore off, we began, you know, to play the scenes together and so forth. And the strangest phenomenon took place. The gap closed.
Yes, exactly.
Just like that.
We were right
there was
back.
no, like we worked last week together, now we're working again together. And it's the same way here.
I think that when you've worked
Margaret, I'm home.
so long that you get into a habit, into a routine, and we're used to working with one another. It's always just going back to that.
There are a lot of series that shot as long as ours. After it was only 6 years, there are series that go on nowadays. That's 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years. And then people part and they don't see each other and they don't get together or whatever. And we do. I mean, we do see each other socially.
Yeah.
And there's a bond. I think we somehow became a family.
How accurate was the family? I mean, in terms of real life experience family, how honest was that family? The Anderson family.
What do you mean, how honest?
Well, I mean, was it the way it was? I mean, was that family the way real families were and their challenges and the way they responded to challenges?
No.
No. She's nodding yes, you're nodding yes.
Yes.
No.
We were asked, you know, they said, isn't this too idealistic? And I said, what do you mean by too idealistic? In the first place, if you use the word idealistic, you know, you don't need the word too. In the first place, it was slanted toward humor. People said, you know, this isn't the way life really is. I said, well, next week we're going to do a show in which Lauren, the kitten, is going to develop spinal meningitis. And the following week after that, she's going to die. I said, oh, no, you're not going to do that, really? And I said, you said you wanted reality. I said, this is life. This happens in life. This happens in families. We know that. So we're going to do it. So that no longer will they say this is too idealistic. This will be life as it really is. Well, of course, you can't do that, David. You know that. There's a format, and you have to stick to it, because it's a strange thing about the viewer. The viewer suddenly gets angry. You've been monkeying around with my show. You know, you're changing things. If they like it, that's the way they want it to stay.
Jane, why did we identify, which we did? We identified with this family. I say we, all of us who watched the program. What was it about it for you?
Well, to me, it's because it was such a real family. And I think with the three children that were so wonderfully cast, they were totally different. We were all totally different. I mean, I'm not a bit like Bob in my real life. I'm not like Ellen. I'm not like any of these people. And I think that we had such wonderful writers. No, we were individual people, really.
Right.
And I think that was very important. I think our own personalities came through. But I think the reason why people identified it with it was, for instance, I never had any trouble with the scenes or the words. I never thought it was too idealistic or too anything. To me, it's the way a family should have been. I wanted to be. I expected to be. And I had no problem with that. But I think the reason why Father Knows Best has lasted so well is that it was so beautifully written and produced so well, none of which the the audience understands, and that each script had something to say.
Father Knows Best was a role model for many American families. Many people through my lifetime have come up to me and said, your show was not exactly like our family, but it served as a role model. We patterned our life after Father Knows Best.
Happened to me too.
I don't believe
Many
that it was unrealistic. Some things maybe, you know, but it gave people a sense of hope. It gave people a sense of, I'm going to have my life like Jim and Margaret Anderson. My children are going to be like Betty, Bud, and Kathy, you know.
There's another side to that, though. It really is, because I've had a lot of kids come up to me and say, why? I was compared to you negatively. You know, like I took a bum rap because you were such a nice kid.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I didn't think you were so nice.
Well,
No, I know what you mean, Bill. That happened with Welby. Doctors,
yeah,
you know, practicing physicians came to me and said, you know, you screwed up my practice. Everything was fine until you came in. Now my patients say, why aren't you like Dr. Welby? You know? And I said, what do you say to them? He said, well, I tell them that if I practice 1 hour a week on Tuesday night, I'd be as good as Dr. Welby. I said, that's smart.
When we come back, more with the group from Father Knows Best, the whole family, in just a couple of minutes. You've had 4 children since then?
Yes. Yes.
And they're...
But she was a child bride. She really got married
wasn't
very
that
young.
young.
Yes,
Wasn't
you
that
were.
young?
You were 18.
No, I wasn't.
Quiet.
Yes, Mother. Yeah,
But you-
27, 22, 19, and one going to be 16. All boys.
Well, all boys.
All boys, yeah.
Isn't that wonderful?
And you
And
must
one
be...
actor in the bunch. And that's
How do you feel about that?
Yes, well, I kept saying, no, you know, you really don't want to do this, do you? And one day I had lost a job that I had wanted very badly, and I got terribly upset about it. And I said, is this what you want? You want to go through this? And he said, yes. And it was all over.
Billy, what was your impression of that photograph when we had it up there on the screen?
it just tells me how good an actor I was, because I think I was thinking about, I'd like to be on my motorcycle right now, most of the time.
You didn't have a motorcycle, did
Yeah, I
you?
did.
Were too young.
No, I drove a motorcycle to work.
Bill, you and Lauren, you had afterwards real problems in your personal lives, right?
Well, actually, my problems weren't with my personal life. It was with the law.
Well, you can laugh about it now, right? Well, but just briefly, what problems? I know, Lauren, you've been on the program, and we've talked at length about your problems with drugs and prison and so forth. Bill, what was
the situation is now that if you're caught with some marijuana, you get a traffic ticket. Well, if you're caught with marijuana when you're, I was 18, 19, or 20, I've forgotten now, but it was in 1960. And you're a dope fiend all of a sudden. And I didn't feel that was, I never had a problem with drugs.
Most children do not go into this business. How much fun was it? I think Lauren, it was you said it was fun for a while, but
For a while.
Then
for
it
a
wasn't.
season, and then it wasn't. Then it became hard work. Then it became, because I became aware of myself as an individual and realized that there was more to life than doing Father Knows Best. And I wanted to do those other things. I think that Eleanor, when she went into the show, and Billy, they were older, you know, and so they had already gone through that transition. They weren't reaching or
It was
searching.
a decisional kind of thing where we were in it because we wanted to be.
Interestingly, that is actually what happened to the show. You know, a lot of people said, well, why'd you quit, when you were in the top 10? And I said, what better time to leave, when you're welcome, still welcome, not wait until you're shoved out the door. I said, because actually the show's changing. Bill would be drafted at that particular time. There was a draft, and he'd be gone. Eleanor would fall in love and get married. She'd be gone. Then we have one left, which changes the whole, you might say, shape of the family. The family
Well,
would...
there were always grandchildren, We could have gone on with it.
Well, that's later.
She's creating a new series
That's
here,
right, yeah.
right?
Yes.
What a family. Probably thought they were going to wait up for me and fell asleep watching television.